Ladies and gentlemen, relationships are not built in the grandiosity of loud declarations, but often in the subtle, quiet corners of human behavior. Love, that intricate and profound force, often does not announce itself with fireworks, but whispers through actions, glances, and unspoken gestures. So let us consider this. How often do we overlook the quiet indicators of affection because we're too busy looking for the obvious? Now, imagine a man, reserved, introspective, yet deeply captivated. He doesn't say the words, but his actions betray him. If you are willing to pay attention, to truly observe, the signs of his affection are all around you. Today, we're going to examine 10 subtle, often overlooked signs that a man may quietly be in love with you, signs that he may even be hiding, whether out of fear, uncertainty, or his own insecurities. A man who quietly loves you will often demonstrate his affection in ways that go unnoticed if you aren't paying attention. One of the most telling signs of this kind of love is his ability to notice the smallest details about you. Details that seem insignificant to others, but matter to him on a deep level. This isn't about superficial observations or simply acknowledging your appearance. It's about an understanding of who you are on a much more profound level. These are things that you might not have noticed, and you might be a little dismissive of when you see them with other people. It's the way he notices when you wear a new scarf, or how you've rearranged the furniture in your living room. It's the fact that he recalls months later your favorite flower or the type of coffee you like when no one else remembers. These small details reveal that he is paying attention, not just to the external, but to the nuances of your personality, preferences, and emotions. The reason these details matter is that they represent an investment in you as an individual. Attention is a powerful currency in relationships, one that reflects a deep level of care and interest. When a man loves you quietly, he's not waiting for the next grand event to show his affection. Instead, he is continuously observing you, learning about what makes you happy, what might upset you, and what comforts you. For him, the little things are important because they show that he is emotionally attuned to you. The more he notices and recalls, the more it becomes clear that his care for you isn't fleeting or casual. It is rooted in a genuine desire to understand you, to know you on a level that is intimate and personal. This kind of attention goes beyond simple memory. It's about connection. A man who loves you quietly will remember the offhand comments you make during conversations and act on them later. Maybe you mention in passing that you love a particular book, and next time you meet, he's bought it for you, thinking it might bring you joy. Or perhaps you've talked about a childhood memory, and one day, out of nowhere, he'll reference it, showing that he's not only listening, but also cherishing your history. His ability to recall these details isn't about impressing you. It's his way of showing you that he is constantly thinking about you, that you are occupying his thoughts in a meaningful way. Moreover, this attentiveness is often subconscious. It isn't calculated or done with the intent of gaining approval or affection in return. It's the natural outcome of someone who is genuinely invested in you. He may not even realize he's noticing these details. It's simply a reflection of how much he cares. It's the kind of behavior that only comes from someone who is truly present in the relationship, paying attention not because they feel obligated, but because they genuinely want to know you better. In a world that often values grand gestures, the ability to recognize and appreciate the small things is a powerful, often underappreciated expression of love. It's in these quiet, subtle moments that the depth of a man's affection can be felt most profoundly. The love that is built on attention to detail is steady, consistent, and sincere, and it creates a foundation for a relationship that isn't based on fleeting emotions, but on a deep, ongoing connection that thrives in the smallest of moments. When a man quietly loves you, his affection is most often reflected in his actions rather than his words. He doesn't feel the need to constantly declare how he feels or profess his love loudly. Instead, he expresses his care through consistent, practical gestures, small acts of kindness that speak volumes. These are not grand theatrical displays meant to grab attention. Rather, they are simple, thoughtful actions that reveal his love in a way that is both sincere and grounded. For example, he might be the type to show up when you need him without being asked. It's not that he expects something in return, but rather that he takes it upon himself to make your life a little easier, a little better, because he truly cares about your well-being. He might fix something around your house that's been bothering you for weeks, or offer to take care of a chore you've been dreading. These quiet acts of service are his way of saying, I'm here for you, without needing to vocalize it at every opportunity. He may also demonstrate his love by prioritizing your needs over his own comfort. While many people will speak about their feelings, he understands that love is not always about receiving, it's often about giving. If he sees you struggling or stressed, he'll do what he can to help, even if it means sacrificing his time or energy. He doesn't keep score. He simply acts out of a desire to see you happy, healthy, and at ease. He might take on responsibilities without complaining or make adjustments in his own life to accommodate yours. These are not the actions of someone looking for praise or recognition, but of someone who values your happiness more than anything else. This kind of quiet love is often marked by a certain humility. The man who loves you in this way does not seek validation from others. He's not doing these things to prove his love to anyone or to secure your affection. His actions come from a place of selflessness and a deep understanding that love is more than just a feeling. It's about showing up when it matters. His love doesn't need to be loud, and it doesn't need to be announced. It simply is through what he does for you. The beauty of these actions is that they speak directly to the heart. A simple gesture like remembering your favorite snack, or showing concern when you're feeling unwell, has a lasting impact. These acts, though small in the eyes of others, accumulate over time and form a foundation of trust and affection. It's in these everyday, unnoticed moments that the depth of his feelings is revealed. In a world where so many people are quick to speak and slow to act, a man who demonstrates his love quietly and consistently through his actions is rare. His love isn't loud or boastful. It's steady, dependable, and grounded in the belief that love is best shown through doing. It's not about seeking attention. It's about showing care in the most authentic, meaningful ways possible. And this is where true affection lies, not in the empty promises, but in the thoughtful actions that communicate the depth of his feelings. When a man quietly loves you, one of the most significant ways he shows it is by listening to you, not just as a formality, but with the intention of truly understanding you. In many relationships, communication often becomes a series of exchanges, with each person simply waiting for their turn to speak. But with a man who is genuinely in love, listening goes far beyond this surface level. He listens with intent, focusing on the nuances of your words, the emotion behind them, and the deeper meaning that might be unspoken. This kind of listening isn't just about hearing the words you say. It's about paying attention to the emotions and concerns that underlie them. He doesn't just ask how your day went as a casual pleasantry. He truly wants to know. He's attentive to how you describe your experiences, the way you express your frustrations or joys, and the tone you use when discussing something important. His goal isn't to offer a solution right away or rush in with advice, but to first understand your perspective fully. He values what you think and feel, because your thoughts and emotions are a reflection of who you are, and to him, that is worth understanding in depth. Moreover, when he listens, he remembers. A man in love doesn't forget the small details, the little comments you might have made weeks or even months ago. Perhaps you mentioned in passing a book you wanted to read or a place you'd like to visit, and when he surprises you with that exact book or plans a trip to that place, it's clear that he's been paying attention. This isn't about keeping track for the sake of impressing you. It's a natural result of caring deeply about your happiness. His memory reflects his affection as he holds on to the little things that matter to you. He remembers not just your favorite foods or songs, but also your dreams, worries, and the things that keep you up at night. This kind of listening also involves emotional investment. He doesn't simply listen with his ears, he listens with his heart. He can sense when something is off, even if you don't explicitly say it. If you're feeling down, he may pick up on the subtle shifts in your behavior, in the way you speak or the silence between your words. His reaction to this will not be to bombard you with questions or judgments, but to offer his presence and understanding. He knows that sometimes all you need is someone to hear you without offering a quick fix. Just being there, acknowledging your feelings, and letting you express yourself freely are all signs of his deep care. This level of listening builds trust in the relationship. It shows that he respects you enough to value your voice, your thoughts, and your experiences. It creates an environment where you feel safe to share your innermost feelings and vulnerabilities. When a man listens to you in this way, it's an affirmation that you are seen and understood, not just as a partner, but as a person with a rich inner world. This is the foundation of emotional intimacy, a quiet yet powerful manifestation of love that transcends words and is felt in the silence of mutual understanding. A man who quietly loves you often communicates his feelings through body language in subtle yet significant ways. While many people rely on verbal expressions to convey their emotions, someone deeply in love tends to let their actions speak louder than words. And much of that is conveyed through how they physically engage with you. This body language isn't always obvious or exaggerated. It can be understated, but it is no less meaningful. In fact, it often reveals more about his feelings than any spoken declaration could. For instance, when a man loves you in this quiet, unspoken way, you might notice that he is drawn to be close to you physically. He doesn't need to hold your hand constantly or make obvious gestures of affection in public. Instead, you might find him subtly leaning in when you talk, positioning himself a little closer than usual during a conversation. He might not always be aware of it, but his body naturally gravitates toward yours, as though he is instinctively trying to create an invisible but intimate connection. This type of physical proximity is an unconscious reflection of his desire to be near you, to feel your presence. In addition to closeness, a man who loves you quietly often engages in mirroring your movements or body language. This is a powerful indicator of connection. If you notice that he starts to mirror your posture, gestures, or even your tone of voice, it's a sign that he is attuned to you, emotionally in sync with your state of mind. Mirroring is an unconscious behavior that happens when someone feels comfortable and connected to another person. It signals that he is not just hearing your words, but that he is emotionally and mentally aligned with you. It's a subtle way of saying, I understand you. I am with you. These mere gestures may not be obvious at first glance, but they are an intimate form of communication that shows his closeness to you, his attentiveness, and his quiet affection. Another key aspect of his body language is how he looks at you. The way a man gazes at you can reveal more about his feelings than anything he might say aloud. If you notice that he holds eye contact a little longer than usual, it might be because he is caught up in the connection he feels with you. The eyes are often called the windows to the soul, and prolonged eye contact can indicate a deep emotional bond. He may not always be aware of it, but if he is consistently making eye contact that feels more personal, it's because he is allowing himself to be vulnerable in your presence. In contrast, when someone isn't emotionally engaged, they often avoid prolonged eye contact. So when he looks at you with such intensity or warmth, it shows a deeper emotional investment that goes beyond surface level attraction. Sometimes a man in love will also express his affection through simple, tender gestures, like a gentle touch on your arm or a brush of his hand against yours. These small acts, though subtle, communicate a desire for closeness and affection. They are often more meaningful because they aren't forced or practiced. They are instinctual ways in which he expresses his care for you, even if he's not openly admitting it. In the quietest of moments, when words fail or feel unnecessary, a man's body language often betrays his true feelings. These physical expressions of love, whether it's his proximity, the way he mirrors your actions, or the tenderness in his gaze, serve as an unspoken testament to how much he cares. They communicate a connection that transcends language. Expressing a level of intimacy and affection is often far more powerful than words could ever convey. A man who quietly loves you will often show his affection, not just through words or grand gestures, but by offering you his unwavering support. This support, however, isn't based on dominance or control. It's rooted in a genuine desire for your happiness and growth. When a man loves you in this quiet, unobtrusive way, he becomes an ally in your life, always encouraging you to be the best version of yourself. His support is unconditional, driven by the belief that your success and well-being are just as important as his own. One of the clearest signs of this support is how he responds to your goals and ambitions. A man in love will never feel threatened by your growth or your dreams. Instead, he will stand beside you, offering both encouragement and space to pursue whatever it is that drives you. Whether you're working toward a career milestone, learning a new skill, or striving for personal development, he will be your cheerleader in ways that are subtle but meaningful. He might not announce his pride in you loudly to the world, but he will ensure that you feel his belief in your potential. He will celebrate your successes, no matter how small, and make sure you know that he's always there to help you through setbacks or challenges. This support is not just about achieving external goals, though. It also extends to your emotional and mental well-being. A man who loves you quietly will be there for you during difficult times, offering a shoulder to lean on or a patient ear when you need to talk. He won't try to fix everything or minimize your struggles. Rather, he'll simply be present, letting you know that you don't have to go through tough moments alone. His support shows in his willingness to listen without judgment, to comfort without overstepping, and to give you the space you need to process your emotions. This unconditional emotional support demonstrates a deep respect for your autonomy and individuality. Moreover, he respects your decisions and opinions. Even when your choices differ from his own, he values your perspective and trusts that you are capable of making decisions for yourself. This is a key aspect of his support. It's not about controlling you or molding you to fit his preferences. Instead, he supports you in your autonomy, recognizing that you are your own person with your own voice. When a man quietly loves you, he will always encourage you to make your own decisions and will stand by you even if your path diverges from his own. In addition, this quiet support extends to how he respects your boundaries and your needs. He knows when to give you space, when to step back, and when to be there for you without being intrusive. His ability to navigate these moments with sensitivity shows that his love is not only about being present, but also about respecting the balance that allows you to grow, thrive, and maintain your independence. Ultimately, the support of a man who loves you quietly is constant and unwavering. It is not reliant on external validation, but rather is rooted in the deep understanding that a healthy relationship is one where both individuals feel empowered and nurtured. His support manifests in a way that reinforces your sense of self-worth and encourages you to continue pursuing what matters to you, knowing that you have someone who believes in you no matter what. This is the quiet but powerful form of love that is built on mutual respect, admiration, and a commitment to seeing each other grow both. When a man quietly loves you, he will often demonstrate this affection by prioritizing your well-being and safety, sometimes at the expense of his own comfort. This quiet yet powerful form of love is rooted in selflessness and a desire to protect and support you, even when you may not ask for it. His actions may not always be loud or dramatic, but they are deeply meaningful, showing that your happiness and security matter to him more than anything else. One of the most telling signs of this kind of love is the way he takes initiative to ensure that you're safe, whether physically or emotionally. For example, if you're walking home late at night or traveling alone, he might offer to pick you up or check in on you, making sure you're okay. These actions are not born out of a need to control, but rather from a genuine concern for your safety and comfort. Even in moments where you may not explicitly need help, he will find small ways to offer assistance, ensuring that you feel protected. This type of support doesn't come from a place of insecurity or possessiveness. It's the result of a man who simply wants to make sure you're always okay, no matter the situation. A man who loves you quietly will also be attuned to your emotional well-being, noticing when you're upset or stressed, and doing what he can to help alleviate that burden. This might mean he steps in when you need a hand with something, or simply gives you the space to vent and process your feelings without interruption. His presence during these times is steady and reliable, a constant reminder that you are not alone in facing the challenges life throws your way. He does not try to fix everything for you, but he knows when to step in, offering his support when it's most needed. In addition to these protective gestures, his love shows itself in his willingness to make sacrifices, even in seemingly small ways. If he sees that you're overwhelmed or struggling with something, he might offer to take on a task or adjust his schedule to help lighten your load. This willingness to sacrifice his time, energy, or comfort for your well-being is a clear indication of his deep affection for you. He doesn't need to be asked. He simply does what he can because he cares about your happiness and doesn't want you to feel burdened. Moreover, this quiet protection isn't always obvious to those around you. It's the little things, the small but consistent actions that might seem insignificant on the surface, but are actually signs of his deep emotional investment. He might remember to bring you your favorite drink when you're having a rough day, or ensure that you have everything you need during a stressful time. These are not actions that demand acknowledgement or praise, but they are tangible expressions of his love for you. His desire to take care of you, both physically and emotionally, speaks volumes, even if he never explicitly says, I love you. Ultimately, the way a man prioritizes your safety and happiness, without expecting anything in return, reveals the depth of his affection. His quiet love isn't about grand displays of dominance or ownership. It's about caring for you in the most selfless, unspoken ways possible. His actions, though subtle, create a foundation of trust and security, and they are a reflection of a love that is enduring, patient, and steadfast.